Just 1 week before the draft, we might as well do a draft of our own, try to predict what the 49ers are going to do. And there's no better person to mock draft with, in my opinion, than Marco Martinez. Because listen, Marco knows his stuff. He gets deep into the weeds when it comes to these prospects. I cannot wait to see who he mocks to the San Francisco 49ers. And then I'll give it a shot as well. Let's see who can get closer to what actually happens during the draft. We're going to do that, plus talk a little bit of Brandon Ayuk. We're going to do it all next. All right, welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second, and it's Thursday night, which means I got my guy Marco in the building. Marco, what's up, my man?
What up? What up, man? Kicker in the first round. Let's go.
Let's go. Because you know what's better than one kicker? Two kickers. Yeah, jeez. So before we get into the actual draft, well, I'll kind of ease into the draft here, but there's a lot of stuff going on with this Brandon Ayuk situation. A lot of stuff. From what I understand, just going off of what Grant says, Grant doesn't pretend to be an insider, but the gentleman he knows for the Pittsburgh Steelers side of things, this Noah guy, very plugged in with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I don't necessarily think that what he's saying or what he's hearing and reporting is wrong, but everything that I've heard and you've heard is very opposite of that. What are the chances, in your opinion, that Brandon Ayuk is traded during the draft? And really, what's interesting about this is when Debo was getting potentially traded, it's like we just had to make it through the first round and we knew we were good. With Ayuk, because of the way this rumor has been displayed, it's like, well, we kind of got to go through 2 rounds to make sure that we're actually out of the weeds with him. But do you think that there's any possibility of this happening during the draft?
No, I see. I would honestly say there's zero possibility of it happening. Like from the people I've spoken with about the Jag situation, the Steelers situation, they've all said the same thing. They're calling. Niners are pretty much all right. Let me hear what you have to say, and then hanging up. They're not even playing with it. Like it's pretty straightforward when it comes to what the Niners want to do. They want to extend Brandon Ayuk. And this same person I'm talking to also says that there's no plans for Debo Samuel after 2024 season. Like they don't have Debo in their plans after this season. So that tells me a lot. Like if you don't have plans to not have Debo on your roster after this season, but then trade away your number 1 overall receiver, like that doesn't make sense. If they're not offered a first plus, I don't think it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true, man. That's very, very true. And I think, well, and it all makes sense when you look at it because Debo is coming up on the expensive years of his deal. They have an out after this season. They're going to have to make some decisions. Having Brandon Ayuk this year with Debo Samuel was never really the question. They could certainly make it happen. It was next year is when the questions would start to kick in. Can you afford 2 high-end receivers? And what's interesting about this is you just had another receiver for the Eagles and Devontae Smith get paid. And his big contract won't kick in for another 2 seasons, I believe. But already you're hearing rumors that they might be ready to move on from A.J. Brown because they don't want 2 high-paid receivers on their team. And they're probably looking at it saying, we can get more for A.J. Brown now than if we wait 2 years when this becomes an actual decision that we have to make. And so you're starting to hear those rumblings that maybe, just maybe, A.J. Brown may be on the move as well. So I can see the 49ers moving on from Debo Samuel. They're going to have some tough decisions next year. They really are.
And I think the biggest thing like that we have to like look at is if the Niners are in win now mode, like right, like you have the roster to win a championship this year. Like they truly do. They went last year, fell short. So everyone's pretty much coming back. Like there's no drastic changes outside of Rick Armstead. They need Brandon Ayuk to get back to the promised land. Like they're not randomly Debo's not gonna randomly become this great route runner who could beat man coverage. Like that doesn't happen overnight. So when I look at him, like I'm not too worried about it because Kyle understands that he needs Brandon Ayuk more than this offense really like the way it's constructed with Brock Purdy to throw the ball. So I'm definitely excited to see the 49ers moving forward. Like I would say after pick 18, I think we're good. Like if a team goes and offers a first round pick plus, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, we could pick swap. We'll get pick 15. Give Brandon and you can pick 31 and probably get another second or third." There's no way the Niners are giving Brandon Ayuk their 31st overall pick for 15 and a second. Like that's not going to happen. Like they're going to keep their 31st overall pick no matter what happens. If they do trade him, they're keeping that 31st overall pick. So a team better come in with an offer they just obviously can't refuse. Like if you offer pick 20 and a second, you kind of can't refuse it because now you're in a spot to trade up in the draft to go get an offensive lineman. So I don't see the Niners moving him because I don't think a team wants to trade a first rounder plus.
Yeah, absolutely. Brother Bob says nails and clutch, two of the best in the biz. Appreciate you, Brother Bob. Appreciate you. And this is a good question. Ross says, so what? I'm curious about whose sources I'm expected to believe. I don't know that you have to believe 100% anybody's, right? Like unless you hear something, I wouldn't expect you to believe everything that you hear, and things
Absolutely.
change so rapidly in the NFL. What I would say is that both of these things actually can work together, though. If you really look at it, the guy from the Steelers is saying, "Hey, the Steelers are rapidly pursuing number one wide receiver." Okay, that could be true. They're targeting Brandon Ayuk. Yep, that could be true. They believe that they can get Brandon Ayuk. Sure, certainly. Maybe they've had conversations that make them think that that's going to happen. And then on the flip side, the 49ers could be like, yeah, we'll entertain anything, but we're not actually looking to move Brandon Ayuk. And so for right now, both things could be true. But again, things do change very quickly. I mean, tomorrow, if Brandon Ayuk wakes up and is like, hey, I want out, I'm not signing for anything less than $28 million. I will not be at training camp, and decides he wants to play hardball. Well, with new information, you can have a new result. But as of right now, I don't see Brandon Ayuk going anywhere. And a lot of that is based off of what you said. And I talk with you a lot. You give me a lot of things. Most of the time, I don't talk about them, especially in this format. But they usually tend to be right. So unless you are straying me wrong for like the first time in forever, I'm gonna believe what you're saying. It's the only
Doing it so everyone could laugh at us.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. That's great. All right, let's talk draft. Let me get this changed out here real quick
Well, that
because
tells me what you think about Trent Taylor. We were supposed to talk Trent Taylor, but I know it's not important. So I'm glad you didn't talk about it.
it's really not.
I'm glad you didn't bring it up.
In fact, Marco, I didn't even make a video about it when they signed Trent Taylor. That's what I thought about the Trent Taylor signing. So I literally posted it on the community tab with the meme of that blonde kid that's got the face. It's like, I'm not impressed. And I said, 49ers signed Trent Taylor. That was what I thought about it. I could care less about it. Golly. All right, let me share this real quick. Bring this over here and present. Screen. There we go. Okay, but I do have another question that pertains to the wide receivers. Let me make sure I didn't miss a super chat or anything. Brother Bob says AJ Brown trade pre-June 1st means the Eagles taking a $22 million cap hit. Yeah, certainly, but they can afford it, right? There's two different ways that you can go about a situation. First of all, if you're going to trade him, it's probably going to have to be during the draft because you want to get capital for him now. Second of all, the nice thing about taking that cap hit is you take it this year and you're done with it, which means next year you don't have to worry about it. To where like the 49ers with Eric Armstead, they took the cap hit this year, but they're also taking a $15.5 million cap hit next year for him not to even be on the team. So it's all in how you want to work things. Dave Barclay says Ayuk is more necessary. Debo isn't. Draft is big. I agree with that. Completely agree with that. So, okay. All right. Let's jump into this here. So, draft wise, the 49ers have been rumored to be looking at a potential wide receiver, even though Brandon Ayuk is not on the move. Explain to me how that could be possible.
How is that possible? Like in terms of first round draft pick, or are we talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah, like
even though
let's
Brandon
let's say let's say that at 31, if certain guys fall to them, like is there a possibility they could take a receiver? Matt Mayoko made it seem like that.
Oh hell yeah. I've been
Yeah,
saying it.
okay.
I said it on last Friday with Ashley Ariana. I was on our
Mhm.
Friday show. We were talking about pick 31 and we're talking about what position it could be. And I was like, honestly, I think it's receiver or offensive tackle. Reason why I think that is being told that Debo isn't in the plans in the future. Niners don't tend to play rookies right away, especially rookie
Mm.
receivers. Like they like to sit them that 1 year, or if they're that dude, they'll play, but they won't get like extreme targets. So when I'm looking at it, if a guy like Anani Mitchell does fall to 31, and he's there, I don't see how the Niners pass him up. Like I don't see how that happens. Now, there's not many players in the first round at receiver that they could take because I don't think there's that many legit receiver ones in this draft or legit guys you take in the first round at receiver. A lot of top end guys that are going to be way gone before the Niners could pick. Outside of that, you start looking at guys like a big Kyle guy, Javon Baker, Jalen
Mhm.
McMillan, second and third round guys that they could take and be excited with because they're replacing
Okay.
Debo, not Brandon.
Okay. Do you think Rosengarten's a reach at 31?
I don't. Now, what I mean by I don't is I think Rosengarten's gone by pick 45. So if you don't have the draft like to trade down, like if you don't have the ability to trade down, it's not really a reach because you're getting a guy that you really like and you know you can't come back up to get him. It's going to be a lot to come back up to get him. So I don't really see it as a reach. I think he's going to be a starter in the NFL. And taking a starter at pick 31, everyone would be excited about it. They're going to complain about it now. But if Roger Rosengarten was to have gone back to college, played one more year at Washington or transferred wherever he wanted to go, he was going to be a lock to go in the first round next year. Like a lot of scouts that I've interacted with, talked to, they've all said the same thing that Roger Rosengarten came out of college a year too early, and that's why he's being talked about as a second rounder. A lot of teams may have him as a first rounder. They may have him above a Jordan Morgan as a true offensive tackle. Or so that's where I see it. Like I'm not looking at it in terms of oh shit, how does this work when it comes to a talent? Is he where everyone else on social media thinks he is in that range 60 to spot? No, I look at it as I have him as a 45 to 55. That's where he should be going. And if you're taking him at 31, I'm not too worried about it.
Okay. Last question before we get into the actual draft. I've been big. I don't know if we talked about it last week. I feel like maybe that was around the time that I started to like put this thought process around my head, but I'm big on the 49ers trading back a little bit if they can. No further than say like 37, 38-ish, maybe 40 depending, but trading back and gaining more assets. What do you think about that strategy?
I prefer it over trading up because if you trade
Okay.
up and you miss, and you're gonna have to give up other picks. And this draft is way too crucial to miss on a pick. So I think if you're gonna trade down the talent from pick 30, like I was saying this the other day too, like the talent from pick 31 to pick 40 isn't that different. Like if we're being honest, it's not much different from pick 31 to 40. The talent's still gonna be there. You're just getting that less of that fifth year option. So I'm not too worried about the 49ers trading down. I know a lot of people don't want that to happen. They want to stay at 31. It would suck because we're going to be live on a draft night. So I want to talk
Yeah.
about a pick at 31, but if not,
Yeah.
I'm not too I would rather trade down though.
Yeah, it's interesting because I would too, but you're right. I mean, content wise, like Friday night, my son plays football like right in the meat of rounds 2 and 3. So I won't be able to be live. I coach him. So that's my priority. That would suck if the 49ers trade down and then there's just zero picks made by the 49ers. So that would definitely, I wouldn't be a fan of that if, just from that standpoint, that it would be nice to get a reaction. But as far as just being a fan of the team, yeah, I would be totally fine with them trading down. So, okay, I've got this thing. Do you want me to go turbo or do you want me to slow it down a little bit in case you want to trade up? Like you just kind of want
I'm
to see how it falls?
No, I don't really trade, man. I don't because it's so
Okay.
hard to predict a trade in terms of what teams actually want to move. So when I
Yeah.
usually do mocks, I don't really trade. I know a lot of people like to get fancy and trade a
Mhm.
second and a third for a first. Like that's I can't. I'm not. I don't like to predict anything.
Okay. All right. So we're just in a stand pat. All right. Let's start this
I
thing.
mean, we could do one like stand pat and then one where we mess around and trade backwards and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. We definitely have time for it. Okay. So here we are. Pick 31. This, you know what's funny about this? I'm going to throw this out here right now. Yes. Perfect. Okay. I had a topic on my show Monday, and it was worst case scenario for the San Francisco 49ers come pick 31, that they can't trade back, and I listed all the guys that could be gone, or all the positions and how many guys from those positions could be gone. This right here is exactly what I was talking about when I said worst case scenario, 49ers are at 31. This is what it looks like. Now, if the board looks like this, trading back would be very, very ideal if it's at all possible, because you've still got like Bo Nix and Penix on the board. But a lot of the guys that you would love at 31 aren't necessarily there. So the question now becomes, okay, do you take arguably the best safety? Do you take the second best center? Do you still go receiver? Do you like a guy like Ladd? You're not going quarterback. Are you going Rosengarten here, who I know is way down the board? Like, what would you do in this situation if you were at pick 31 and this is what the board looked like? You can go Kingsley as well. I know he's your guy.
Kingsley, they have him 60. This is crazy, 64. I know
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people have him like the lowest I see other people processes have them is 35, the max 40.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Kingsley on the board.
They have him at average draft position 44, but they
Makes
have
sense.
him ranked 66. So depending on how you do the draft, actually did it more towards ADP, like what people are doing, but there is some slight influence from PFF on this as well.
Okay, so we have Kingsley on the board,
Mm-hmm.
right? We also have Zach Frazier on the board.
Mm-hmm. We do.
We also have Darius Robinson on the board, I believe. Thought I saw him.
I believe I saw him as well. Let's see. Should be.
Thought I saw him. I could be tripping.
No, I thought I saw him too. Yeah, he's right
Oh,
there.
he's right there. So for
Yeah.
me, it would be between three players. But I
Okay.
would like to trade in this kind of situation. I would like to trade down because Zach Frazier is a certified lock, probably the center one in this draft class, arguably. A lot of people have him at center one. A lot of people have Jackson Powers at center one. Um, Dude does it all. Literally, you want a guy like that. If he's going to be your center for the next 10 plus years, staying healthy. Kingsley is going to be a lock to start, right? In my opinion, day one at right tackle.
Okay.
Could even go over to the left side and play left side. He has
Who
the
real quick,
athleticism.
who do you like better out of JPJ and Frazier?
Man, that's so hard because I feel like Zach Frazier is going to be better in the NFL in terms of like everything he does. He has the agility, the ability to reach better. He has better strength to anchor. He plays with better pad level. But then when you watch JPJ overall, his film is better. Like
Mm,
Zach Frazier, unfortunately, his film isn't as good. But I would bet on Zach Frazier's athletic ability and his pure raw strength because everything else besides that, it's in my opinion, I think he's and those two guys, like you can't argue, like one of them is better than the other. Like in my opinion, I think they're the same player in a way.
okay. Okay.
And I
That's
know you're
fair.
pretty high on Zach Frazier.
No, I'm higher on Jackson Powers Johnson. You know, I'm an Oregon Duck guy, so a
Oh,
little
no,
bit
no,
of
I'm
bias
not. I
probably
didn't.
comes
I
in.
didn't mean. I didn't mean like you're higher on him. I know like you like Zach Frazier at 31 if
Oh, I
available.
do. Yeah, I do like Zach Frazier a lot. I do. I would prefer JPJ, but definitely I have no problem with taking Frazier. I've taken him a million times. Haynes, do you think he's arguably the best guard in the draft? This best pure guard? Because there's some tackle guys that might play guard, but who knows?
The more I've been watching Christian Mahogany out
Hmm.
of Boston College, I think
Hmm.
they're very similar players, and I've been
Okay.
leaning towards Mahogany because of the age. I believe
Okay.
Haynes is 24 already, which is older. Which I don't really care if a player is older. If you could play,
Yeah.
you could play. but having a player for a little bit longer in his prime is essential in the NFL. Let's look at the trades actually. I know we're just
There is
talking
none.
stuff
There
here,
is
but
none. That's what I'm saying. This is worst case scenario. There is literally nobody
100%.
willing to trade right now. Yep. So we're stuck. And the way PFF works is they won't trade. If there's nobody willing, it's not going to happen. They will show no interest. So we're gonna have to draft a player. That's what I'm saying. Like we get there night one, and this is realistic. Like maybe where the players went isn't as realistic, but as far as who is there, I could see this scenario playing out, and it makes it really really tough, man. Really, really tough. So I don't know.
Is there any receivers on the board? I know a lot of. I'm very curious. Besides Troy Franklin, not a fan.
McConkey, Conkey, Keon Coleman, Roman Wilson, Polk.
No, passing on all of those. I'm
Yeah.
between. If it's me, I'm running to the board. I'm taking Kingsley. I'm going with the player who has the higher upside, in my
Okay.
opinion. Like at pick 31, I feel like you could go either guy, Zach Frazier, Kingsley. I'm fine with either of them, but I don't know. Like I don't want to just make the decision on my own. I want you to be able to make draft picks too. Like we're doing a draft
Yeah.
together.
No. I agree. I'm a big Jordan Morgan guy. You know that. But I also do like acquiesce to the point that Jordan Morgan very well could be a guard in the NFL. Now, I think if he is a guard, I think he would be an elite guard. I think if he's a tackle, he's probably he's not like the best tackle, you know what I mean? But he's more than serviceable. Like he could start for 10 years at tackle. I could see that happening. Now, is he going to be top 10? Probably not. But I think that he would be a guy that you could count on for a long time to be a tackle. And if they move him to guard, I do think that he could be one of the better guards in the NFL. That's just my opinion on Morgan. But tackle is certainly a position that is of higher need. I don't know. So that makes it tough. And then as far as looking at other players, the only two other players that I would look at would be Frazier, which we've talked about, and Nubin. I'm really, really big on Nubin. Really big. I love everything that he brings to the table. I also think the 49ers could use a safety. This is where it gets tough because to me, he's the best safety in this draft. But there is some value at safety in round 3. We've talked about that. Do you take the guy that you think is the best at the position because he's the best at the position over a guy who may be the 6th best tackle? I don't know. Like that's tough, right? Or 5th best tackle, or however you have it ranked. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. This makes it really, really hard. Really hard.
I personally think like from Newbin to guys like Jordan Hicks and guys like Bullock, I don't think there's a big drop off between those guys. I think
That's
Newbin
fair.
has
I'm with
like
you on Bullock. I
he
like
has the
Bullock.
higher upside, but I feel
Yeah.
like when you look at like the grade from those guys, like and you look at obviously I have lower grades on the others, but it's not that drastic. Like when you look at them, the negatives from the other guys isn't like, oh my god, I can't draft this guy in round 3 and I have to take this guy in the first round. Like that's where I'm at right now. I would personally go Kingsley just because I feel like it fits something that the Niners need in the now and in the future. They need a left tackle. I think he's a better fit at right tackle. Also, a lot of people give him a shit because he played right tackle his first year. From what I had heard, he wasn't planning on moving to the left side. They asked him to. He moved there. He wasn't that comfortable there right away. It took him a little while to get comfortable, as it would any player moving with half of an off season to go to get better at that spot.
I'm fine with taking Kingsley. He would be in my top 3, 4-ish of guys that I would take. I also know that if we don't take Kingsley, the chances of Kyren, Morgan, Rosengarten dropping to your next pick are slim to none, and then you're kind of SOL. So I'm fine with taking Kingsley. We can take Kingsley here.
Well, with this pick, I'll say something. With this pick, if we don't take Kingsley now, if it was draft night during round 2, the Commanders have 2 picks in that early 40s. They're taking Kingsley if he's there. I guarantee it. I guarantee it right now.
Okay.
Like everyone like, and you know why I'm saying that. Like I have a lot of people understand why too. I know people have mentioned it on Twitter, but Adam Peters is taking Kingsley if he's there. I'd be shocked if he did.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. As far as like an interior offensive lineman, I think there's some really good ones, like a little bit later, that I would be fine with. And then, safeties, I think Nubin's by far and away the best safety, but you brought up a guy in Kalen Bullocks who I think might fit the 49ers needs a little bit better because I think he's a true free and he's a roamer. He's a guy that you can put single high and he really can cover probably more ground than Nubin. I think Nubin's more complete, but for what the 49ers need, I could see the Bullocks being a better fit and you can get him round 3. So there's some guys. There's definitely some guys. So let's take Kingsley here. I'm good with it. All right, we're going Kingsley, pick 31. Oh, wait a minute. It did not. What?
This guy
did a 7-round draft.
He did a 1-round draft.
Wow. I picked 7 rounds, Marco. I picked 7 rounds. I promise. Okay, well, that's probably going to give us a better situation.
You unselected the Niners, so now we're never going to pick.
All that conversation for that. I hope it's the same scenario. It's not going to be the same scenario.
It's not going to be, but either way, we have to.
It's similar now, though. It's the same similar situation. I mean, it really is. The only difference they've added JPJ, which I would say yes, let's do it for sure. But let's stay true. Let's assume that it was the same situation. Let's go with Kingsley and see how this thing plays out.
Yeah, I personally would take Powers right there if he was there, but
I would too. Trust me, I would too. But okay, so worst case scenario, Kyren did fall, but I'm fine with that. Now, here's a guy that I really like a lot, and no surprise, right? Oregon Duck, Brandon Dorless, but I look at what he brings versatility-wise, and I look at a player that they signed last year in Javon Hargrave, and I see a lot of Hargrave in Dorless, a little bit undersized, good pass rusher. I could see him having a similar type career. What do you think about Dorless? Am I too high on him?
No, you're not. I think Dorless is pretty slept on. He's one of those guys where people will consider him a tweener because he doesn't have the true defensive tackle size. I've had people see him as a true D tackle, but I think he could be kind of what Armstead was in a way. Your big end on base downs, move inside, whoop butts against guards. In my opinion, I think he should be higher on boards. But also a guy who's right there is Chris Braswell, a guy who the 49ers have met with, an edge rusher, 6'3", explosive off the line. His short area quickness is what he's known for. Doesn't have great length, doesn't have the great flexibility, measured in, I believe, 33 and like a cool 33 and a half roughly length, which is good enough for an edge rusher. But for a guy like him, he was overshadowed by everyone else around him along their D line. I think him, opposite of Nick Bosa, is a perfect complementary piece for a couple of years to come. So like guys like that, I do like Rook Ororo. I think he's also in that range with Brandon Dorless, guys who could whoop butt against a bunch of guards, could be your big end, a little more athletic, a little more raw ability. I see Rook kind of similar to a guy the 49ers were in on when he got drafted. He's with the Ravens now. Justin, don't know how to say his last name. The defensive tackle. Don't know if you know what I'm talking about. The dude who just went crazy with 13 and a half sacks.
For which? Metabike?
Metabike. I don't know how to say his last name, so I wanted you to say it for me. That's who Rook Ororo kind of reminds me of coming out of college.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that super raw ability, the Niners were in on him. I could see them being in on Rook Ororo as well.
Hearing in the chat that he's too short. The Dorless is too short. I don't know.
Dorless is 6. I believe he's 6'5". I could be wrong.
No, he's like 6'2", 6'3". He's listed as 6'3". I think he's more 6'2". Let me look it up real quick. Let me see his combine height. Dorless. Combine height and weight, 6'3", 283. So there you go.
So he was probably on the Ducks probably had him listed at 6'5". But
yeah, which is that's par for the course. I don't think 6'3" is too short.
No, not for a defensive tackle, especially with his arm. What's arm length 33? Like that's for a defensive tackle, that's a win.
Yeah. No. I think he's fine. I think he's fine. You don't need not every. I know the 49ers have drafted like a bunch of guys that are like 6'7", but like, let's. How tall is Hargrave? Let me look at how tall Javon Hargrave is.
6. I'm gonna guess 6'2". That's my guess.
Yeah, 6'2". So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Not
is
too short.
Javon Hargrave too short?
I mean, but the thing is though is if we're gonna say people are too short, people did that with Aaron Donald.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Aaron. How tall is Aaron
And I'm
Donald?
not
Exactly.
and I'm not trying to compare like the players, but like a lot of
Yeah.
times you don't want to look at a player and say, "Hey, this player is too short." Let's look at the film. How does he win? Does
Yeah.
that shortness does it show up on film where he lacks length? It doesn't show up on film. He has plenty of length against guards, tackles. Who's there at guard? I know we took an
Oh,
offensive
we've got
tackle, but I want to see
Christian
guards.
Haynes. Let's see. I love Cooper Beebe. I like McCormick as well. Both those guys should
McCormick
be
is
there at the next
solid.
pick.
Yeah, I would wait because I do also like Christian Mahogany
Yeah.
out of BC. So I don't think Haynes is that much better than Cooper Beebe. Don't get me wrong, Haynes is really good.
Yeah.
But who's there at receiver?
Receiver. Let's see. Baker's probably not going to fall to him.
Man,
Malik
see, this
Washington, isn't that David's guy?
Malik Washington is David's guy. But this
Yeah.
is a spot where if the Niners know Baker ain't falling, and I know a lot of teams are high on Javon Baker, I could see the Niners taking Baker here.
Mm.
He's a Kyle's guy. He's him and McMillan are Kyle's guy. If they're not falling to that 93 spot where they're picking next, I could see the 49ers taking Baker now in the second round. The 49er fans being pretty upset because there's guys on the board, but Kyle Shanahan being so excited with that pick.
Just loving it. Good ear to ear grin. Let's see. Go Blake Corum.
I heard he's like Emmitt Smith.
Oh, word? I don't know about that.
That's what someone said.
Let's see. What else is there? Baker. Yeah, I mean, there's our guy. Kalen Bullock. This is tough, right? This is a tough spot. I personally, 49ers love their defensive linemen. I think Rook would be fine. I think Brandon would be fine. They're not going to go offensive lineman 2 picks in a row. It's just not going to happen. So
I personally I'm rolling to go with Brandon Dorless, even though I think Rook's a better player. I think Dorless is a solid when I watch Dorless, he's a guy who you can't go wrong with either of those two guys. I think it is drafting him a little earlier than I think he may go. I think he may go early third. But again, if you're taking a guy now and you know he's not going to make it in the early third, fall back to you. I think he goes by pick 70. He's not going to make it back to us, which is a guy you're going to get great quickness, length. And I think for being 6'3", 285, he has great body control. He knows how to get skinny. He knows how to attack the guard. And what I mean by attack the guard, a lot of defensive tackles, when they attack full man. He knows how to attack half the body, and that's something you don't hardly see from bigger defensive tackles who are considered edge rushers, which is pretty impressive.
You like his versatility?
Oh, yeah. He could play 3 tech. He could play a 5. He could play out at the 9 tech. Like, he could do anything. If you put him at 4i, I think, in my opinion, you could also put him at times at the 0 tech. Like, that's how much strength he has when I watch him. Like, it's not like he lacks strength or anything like that. He's in that awkward size where he's too big to be an edge rusher, but he's also a little too small to be an every down defensive tackle. But I think he could add enough good weight where he could easily play defensive tackle every day.
Okay, but you said that you like Rook a little bit more. Why do you like Rook a little bit more?
I think he has higher upside, a little more athletic. Is a guy who is going to be able to get after the quarterback more. As a run defender, isn't as good as a run defender, but he has that upside as that pass rusher. Super raw
Who do you
though.
think
Like
the, who do you
doesn't know how
think
to
the
use his hands
49ers
as
would
well.
take? Who do you think the 49ers would take given the
Brandon
opportunity?
Brandon Dorless because of the flexibility to play him at any position on the defensive line.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Go Dorless. Go Dorless, and then we'll answer a couple of these super chats here. Brother
Yes,
Bob
sir.
says, Marco, your source. Did he like that Trent ain't crap Taylor signing? Great. Gonna get him in trouble. Gonna get him in trouble. Dave Barclay says, okay, DB Cooper, Worthy at what pick? And the Oregon wide receiver. So where do you see these guys going? Cooper DeJean. You don't like Cooper, and I don't like Cooper either. We both agree on this.
But I think he does go in this second round. I don't know where in the second round. If he goes in the first, I'd be shocked, just because a lot of teams see him as a safety, not a corner, and he doesn't have the size to be a safety, in my opinion. I don't think
two teams that I could see taking him.
Philly.
That's one of them. Okay, who do you think the other one is?
And the Ravens.
God, dude, that's so. I swear on everything. That's
Man, it's the Ravens know how to. The Ravens with a guy like that, the Ravens would utilize him well.
Yeah, actually, I'll throw in a third team because he just left the Ravens, and that's Seattle. Just because the versatility, you could see, maybe they could use him in that particular. But yes, the Ravens and Eagles were the two teams I was thinking of. I could see that happening. Okay, Worthy, and then Troy Franklin.
I think Worthy goes in the first. I think,
I think so.
if Worthy's there when the Bills pick, I think the Bills have to kind of consider it.
Okay.
It's kind of giving Josh Allen what Patrick Mahomes had, that elite speed, with a tight end who's over the middle, kind of underneath the guy. So you're clearing out. You have the ability as a rocket launcher of an arm to get it out to him, and then double back up in the second round and get another receiver, because they're going to need receivers. So I'm taking them in the first round. And then Oregon receiver Troy Franklin, I don't think he goes until the third. But I know a lot of people are high. I'm not high on him. I don't think he is as good as everyone says he is. I don't like his size and speed doesn't match on film, in my opinion.
Okay. I think that's totally fair. Again, I'm a Duck homer, so I like Franklin. But I do see what you're saying. I mean, there's a lot of receivers I would take over Franklin. So, yeah. Okay, here we are, round 3. So far we've taken who we took. We took Dorless in round 2, right? And we took Kingsley in round 1. So we've got a tackle. We've got a defensive tackle / edge, however you want to see that for now. And then here we are, round 3, and things get interesting. So, as predicted, our guy at receiver seems to be gone. We've got some good interior offensive linemen. Sweat. What do you think about Sweat? Talk to me about him, because he had that Dewey. And what do you think that might do to his draft stock?
I don't think it does much, to be honest with you. I don't think the team sees a DUI as bad as it is, in terms of, for him, good run defender. I think he's athletic enough to rush the passer, but gives me way too much Jordan Davis vibes from the Eagles.
Yeah, he is very.
I'm not taking a dude who's 360. Like, you got to get down to 320, and I don't think he has the work ethic to do so. Like, who comes in to the Senior Bowl, one of your biggest interviews, out of shape? Like, he looked out of shape. Like, every move he had was just a bull rush, and then he would take a good amount of reps off because he was huffing and puffing. Like, that is pretty bad.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, he falls far enough, I'd be like, okay, at some point, like, you're just such an immovable monster that I've got to have that up the middle, right? But it's like, what is that point? What is that breaking point? That makes it tough. Now, I know there's a couple guys here that you like. One of them, the 49ers are absolutely not going to take, and that's Michael Pratt. I also know that you like Eric All as well. But overall, what are you seeing here? BB's still there. We talked about him. Braylon Trice, edge rusher. Could you see the 49ers liking him?
I don't think he has the tenacity that the Niners like at defensive end. He doesn't have the bend, the athleticism. He also came into the combine. I know he was a little sick, but I think what happened was I think he tried to lose a lot of weight to test better. What happens when you lose all that weight? Your body gets sick. You dehydrate yourself. You feel nauseous, and they said a lot of those symptoms are what he felt. Didn't test great. Goes to his pro day. Doesn't have a great pro day. Great college player though. I think he's going to be a guy who is going to be a rotational piece in the NFL. I don't think he'll be a starter. I don't see the Niners taking him. I don't see what they look for in what they want in a defensive lineman.
Would you rather have him where he's going to go or Chop Robinson where he's going to go? Because I know we don't like Chop Robinson? Either.
No, I don't like Chop either.
Yeah. That's funny. Okay, let's see. What else were we looking at? Oh, somebody wanted to know what corners were available.
Renard Green's good.
There's some good corners, but I also like this cast of characters in here. Like DJ James down to Newton. I'm fine with most of those guys as well. And those guys are going to go, probably a little bit later, at least one of them. And I'd be fine with almost any of them. So that's just me personally. Let's see what's there at.
The corner that I like too later in the draft is Elijah Jones from Boston College, a guy who fits kind of what the Niners like to do, play zone, get in your face and play zone out of press, cover 3 out of press. So I think he could be a guy later in the draft as well for the Niners.
Okay. Now, safety-wise, the guy that we were talking about, Bullocks, is gone. Who do you like more? Because a lot of people are mocking Vaki, and I know that he visited the 49ers. I think Cole Bishop's better. Am I off my rocker on this one?
Much better.
Okay.
Right. Vaki is a guy, and I feel like he's gotten a lot more love this draft cycle because he plays both sides of the ball, and he does it pretty solid. Like it's not like he's not great on either side, but he does both good enough. And that's why he's getting propped up in a lot of drafts and mock drafts or whatever people were doing.
So good. This is so good. He always comes in. He's like, "Hey, did I miss the Purdy hate rant today?" No, you didn't miss it. It hasn't happened yet. I don't know.
It might be tough.
So it might be tough to pull it out of me. Go ahead.
I got it for him. What's your thoughts on taking Michael Pratt over to be the replacement for Brock Purdy? I know you mentioned Michael Pratt without me mentioning him. So what are your thoughts? What's your thoughts on Michael Pratt?
I do like Pratt, but I see Pratt actually a lot how I saw Brock Purdy the year that he came out, where I actually had a 3rd round grade on Brock Purdy. Now, obviously, he went in the 7th. Ecstatic that they got him that late. I thought it was a steal in the last pick of the draft. So I like Pratt as well, but I don't know that I wouldn't mind taking Pratt and just seeing how it pans out. I don't know for sure if he would end up being better than Purdy, but I see I could see him being very good as well.
You see him being a guy Kyle likes?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Of course. Yes.
Nah, I really like Michael Pratt. I remember when I first watched him.
You're the one that put me on him because I actually, so I was going to watch like the big 5, big 6 with Nick's in there, but I've already seen Nick so much. I had a pretty good opinion of him. The other 5 I hadn't. So I watched them, and then people are like throwing out to me, watch Rattler, you said Pratt. There was a couple more. And it was one of those things where it was like, okay, I'm not going to watch 3 games of a bunch of other guys. Let me choose one. And I chose Pratt based off your recommendation. Dude.
Good quarterback.
Yeah, I would feel more comfortable with Pratt in round 3 than I would probably feel with any of the other ones at round one. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big, yeah, you're a big Caleb guy. I think Caleb's the best quarterback in the draft, but I don't see can't miss prospect with Caleb
No, he's
Williams.
not a
So,
can't miss prospect. He's
yeah.
not. Like, I think he has the most talent, and he's gonna need to get a coach to be able to get him to throw in rhythm a lot more. And I think
Yeah.
don't pass up the easy stuff. Like you're gonna get those plays where you get to make home run plays. Don't
Yeah.
pass up the easy stuff. And I think once he learns that, then he's gonna be that quarterback. But he still has a lot to learn in terms of processing and being a quarterback that hits his back foot and lets it out.
Yeah. Now I know you do think he's the clear best guy. I think it's tough because I like some of the other guys. I just don't like them as much as I do Caleb. I think Caleb is the best quarterback in the draft. I just don't think that it's like these guys are all guys that you just can't not have on your roster. So that's just me personally. All right, let's get back to the 49ers draft though, because they're not going to draft Pratt in round 3, I don't think. So assuming that's not going to happen, what should we be looking at here, in your opinion?
I mean, this is a spot where they could go receiver, they could go edge rusher, they could go corner. I think they wait on corner a little bit. I personally, when you look at receivers here, scroll down a little bit. It's just this is everything they have.
No, there's more.
Dang, they have Luke McCaffrey low. Like I'm not a huge on Luke McCaffrey, but I can see the
I
Niners
think he'll
taking
go
him
in
right
this range. Yeah. You know what? Luke, though, actually athletically tests very well. I will say that. So there's my guy. There's my guy. Gold.
I hope he gets drafted to the Niners because for other reasons, but if he gets drafted to the Niners, I'm gonna be pretty excited about that one.
Is this James Thrash's kid? Remember James Thrash back in the day, the Eagles?
I don't think so. It would have been more talked about. I watched him at the Senior Bowl.
Maybe nobody talks about Trotter. Like, bro, he's literally has his dad's name, and his dad was a beast. And even Jenkins, nobody talks about Jenkins either. His dad was in the league.
His dad was solid too.
His dad was very good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is his son. When I Google James Thrash's son, it comes up Jamari Thrash.
There you go, Jamari Thrash. Interesting. So many people's kids are in this draft. It's absolutely crazy. Wow.
Makes me feel old even though I'm young, but all right.
Dude, I know. Guys that you remember for sure. Okay. So those are the receivers that are available. I feel like with this draft, we're tending to go with what we think the 49ers might do. Is the way that I feel like we've drafted a little bit early. So maybe we want to just keep that trend. Could you see them taking Luke McCaffrey here?
I could because he's solid. Like I'm not crazy over him, but he runs good routes. He's also a guy who is just learning how to be a receiver.
He was a quarterback.
Tested well, so that also plays a factor into it too. Like having the same mindset of a quarterback, that's the quarterback's best friend. So I could see them going Luke McCaffrey. I'm not crazy over him. I would personally me, I'm going Cornelius Johnson over McCaffrey. I think like I've said it before, I think Cornelius Johnson in the right offense with the right team is Nico Collins with the right team. You let him run those digs, you let him run those 9 routes, posts, like he could be that kind of guy.
Dave's saying third, can we get Franklin? Yeah, I don't know that he's necessarily going to fall there. I know you said that you think he might. DeLeon Ross says that Franklin is 6'3" and ran a 4.38. What he's saying is that the speed that he tested at and that height, like you don't see that on film. There's a lot of guys that run crazy speed, but when they play slower. I think that's what he's saying. Now that's his words. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. That's what I think you're saying. I love Franklin, but again, you got to take that with a grain of salt because Oregon Ducks. There we go.
Yeah, when I watch him, he doesn't play up to his speed. He doesn't play up to his size. Being 6'3", you go up and win it consistently. Like that's what I'm looking for on a guy who's 6'3", running a 4.39. Like just because you test well doesn't mean you're going to be a great NFL player. Like that doesn't mean much. How do you step on a corner's feet trying to run routes? Like those are the things I'm looking for, and he doesn't do that great. Now, Also, when you are testing, you do shave time by testing well. I think they would go corner here though, in the third.
Okay. All right. What do you think they're going to do? You think they're going to go? Let's see here. See who we got available. Just one last check. Green, Carson, Jones. Go a little bit further down. There's a bunch of guys that we talked about that we love a little bit later, but what do you
I do
think?
really like Cam Hart, but I could see them
I
going
love
Renardo.
Cam Hart too. I just think it's a little early. What was that?
I could see them going Renardo Green, a guy who our guy David Lichty's been on.
Yeah.
Feisty guy, interchangeable inside and out. He loves to tackle. Good ball production. That's something that the Niners need. Now he's one of those guys where
I love the versatility though. Like these guys that can play in and out, because that if you have injuries, it's nice having a guy that can play both inside. Now they already have one, right? Assuming that they can keep him long term. But if you have two guys that are versatile like that, it really makes it tough on other teams because depending on matchups, you can play anything.
yeah, and even with him too, not necessarily just being interchangeable inside and outside, interchangeable by being able to play in press, being able to play off coverage, doing a lot of different things when you watch him. So shout out to David. He put me on Renardo Green, and I think he could be a guy the Niners take. I don't know if they met with him or not, but you don't got to meet with guys because you meet with guys at the combine and stuff like that. So I could see them going Renardo Green here.
Okay, let's go green. We're trying to get this as accurate as possible. See if we can hit on any of the picks that the 49ers have.
Well,
Okay.
that's probably going to be very low.
Yeah, probably very, very low. Very, very low. Okay. Here we are. We've taken our corner. So receiver still on the board. If McCaffrey's there at round 4, I think. Talk to me about Brennan Rice. Obviously, he's got the last name. I don't think Brennan Rice is very good. From a standpoint that where I think he's possibly going to get drafted, I personally wouldn't want the 49ers to take him. What do you think about Brendan Rice?
I think Brendan Rice is being pushed up on every board because of his last name. And I hate to say that because obviously Jerry's a great 49er, but we're looking at a guy who, in my opinion, watching him at the Senior Bowl, he showed tight hips. He showed the lack to be able to stop on a dime and run routes. Now, there's times where he just bullied people and won by pure strength, which is great. But in the NFL, that's not going to work. Like, you have to have some ability to be able to run routes. And I think for me, watching him, he's not that good of a receiver. I would personally.
I have him as like a fifth round prospect. Yeah, there we go.
Right there.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we agree on that. He wouldn't end up on the 49ers if we're making a decision. And the 49ers aren't going to get sentimental with him. So, okay, let's look at the best players available here. What do you think of Eichenberg, by the way? Linebacker we know is a possible need for the 49ers as well. There's some guys later, of course, but just I haven't done a lot of looking into the linebackers, so I know some names, but what do you think of Eichenberg?
I'll be honest with you, I have not watched Tommy Eichenberg because I didn't think the Niners would be drafting a linebacker as early as the 4th round. Based off of the guys they've met with, a kid from was it Kentucky, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
They met with projected to go in the 3rd round. So they're obviously thinking about linebacker a lot earlier than we think, or at least I think.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. Cedric Gray, I know a lot of people are big on him.
I would go if Cedric Gray was there. I personally would go Cedric Gray, but with us being already in the 4th round, with our first pick in the 4th round, I see edge rusher and tight end. I think this is the sweet spot for tight end.
Okay. All right, let's look at it real quick.
Or if there's any safeties, I know
they have tried multiple times to not replace by any means George Kittle, but get him a running mate, and they've fallen a little bit short. Lions re-signed their guy. I like Theo Johnson. I like 6'6". I think always plays well. But what do you think about the guys that are listed here?
Out of the list that's there, I think Theo Johnson is automatically my pick. If he's
Hmm.
there in the 4th round, would
Hmm.
be the one of the smartest picks in this draft because he probably should go mid second to early 3rd round, which is when you
Okay.
have the ability as a 6'6" guy to run legitimate routes, have strong hands, get yards after the catch, but have the burst to run the routes. Like that's different. When you could run routes as a slower guy, but when you're running them, stepping on linebackers' feet and actually doing it, being able to block, be an inline tight end, be flexed out in the slot as a big slot. Um, we could use he could be our 12 personnel guy. You don't have to have juice on the field. Like there's a lot of things Kyle could do with him. He could be Kyle's offensive weapon that he's always wanted. Like Kyle talks about juice as an offensive weapon. I truly think Theo Johnson would be the right move as an offensive weapon. But I also do want to see who's there at safety because I do think they're going to take safety in this range as well.
Okay. Let's look
And
at
then
it.
Jaheim Bell's there too. He's also a good tight end.
All right. So what we're looking at safety.
Yeah, that's a lot of late day 3, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. What do you think of James Williams? 6'5". I mean, I know that's really big at the safety spot, but it's like
I think he's
it's
converting the
interesting.
linebacker, if I'm not mistaken.
Is he going to convert? Okay.
Yeah, I
Well,
thought at the Senior Bowl he was getting reps at linebacker.
if that's the case, we do know that 49ers do take ex safeties that convert to linebacker that end up being pretty damn good. So he might be worth a flyer late. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely could. And I'm pretty sure he's the one who's converting. I could be wrong, but I know
It would make sense if he is. He's 6'5". I mean, he's massive. So,
and I believe he's good, solid in coverage. So
mhm.
I mean, if you're going after a linebacker to pair with Fred, if you could get him to become a solid linebacker who could eat up space in the passing game, yeah, I would roll with it because he could blitz as well. So um, I just don't see I don't see where teams take him because he's transitioning to linebacker. Where do
Yeah,
you have to know he's going to be solid? Out of this list, who would you take right now?
Cole Bishop. I wouldn't think twice.
No, like all the players available, not necessarily safety.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about safety. I'm like, I wouldn't think twice about it. What was the other position we wanted to look at? We've got a corner. Oh, wide receiver. That was the other one. So we've got okay. So Luke or Cornelius, agree there. We've got Theo Johnson, and we've got this is so tough. And then we've got Cole Bishop. I mean, I would probably either go Bishop or Theo here. I don't know which one. I'm coin flip.
I agree. I would lean Theo just because you've been trying to get George Kittle that running mate. We also got to remember Kittle might not be around for that long. Like,
Yeah.
is he in the?
Right.
This is just me speaking. Like, does George Kittle's future mean 49ers for a long time? Like, do we have the luxury to pay him that much money? Do
Yeah.
they trade him? I think Theo Johnson's a perfect guy to come in and try to help learn from Kittle and then eventually replace him.
Okay, let's go with Theo here. Okay, here we are at pick 130. We got a lot of picks coming up here. We got that was what 124, and then we got 32 and 35. So let's see who fell. See if any of those guys fell. Luke's still there. Cornelius is still there, and let's see if
There's no way Luke's still there. That's crazy.
yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. What do you think of Malik Mustafa?
Malik Mustafa.
Or have you watched him at all?
I've only watched a little bit of him only because I was watching the kid from the corner from Wake Forest. What's his name? Kalen.
From what team? Sorry, what team
Wake
were you
Forest.
watching?
The corner from Wake Forest.
Oh yeah. He actually still might.
Kalen something. But from what I saw from Mustafa, smaller guy, but he's very instinctual. Like a guy who is gonna have kind of reminds me a little bit of Hufanga.
I was just gonna say, yeah. I like him. I like him.
Smaller guy, but very instinctual. He's around the ball, and good players are always around the ball. And I always say that good players are around the ball. They find their way around the ball because they know what's happening.
Yeah, I
Jalen
agree with
Carson.
that.
Thank you, Niner Cast.
There we go. Okay. So, I mean, if this was really the way it fell, I'd be hard pressed to not take a receiver.
I would personally take Luke if he's there. We're in the 4th round, late 4th. You can't
Yeah.
pass up Luke there, to be honest.
Okay.
Like, that's kind of like, if he's there, it's like, that's a no-brainer. A
At
super
some
athletic
point, the hate's
receiver.
gone too far. Yeah, I got
Yeah,
you.
like,
Okay.
super athletic receiver who, like, and I'm
Yeah.
not necessarily hate, like, it just, I don't think he's a top dude in this draft, but, like, if he's
Mhm.
there late in the 4th, easy pick.
Okay. And here we are. Same problem. Cedric Gray. If Cedric Gray's there, right? Like you gotta
Yeah. Another
pull
easy
the
pick if
trigger.
he's there.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do it.
Yeah, that's no-brainer pick. Like, Cedric Grace probably starting week 1 next to Fred Warner.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I agree. Well, I don't know. I know you're not big on the guys they got. I like Graham a lot, so I'm gonna hold true. I have to see it in training camp. Let's see what he looks like in training camp. But last year, man, I was very impressed with him in training camp. But we'll see.
I think what would separate them is the pass coverage ability. I think Cedric Gray in coverage would push himself to be starting.
Okay.
But I agree with you. Jalen Graham as like that overall player, he's solid. Like, at camp, he was solid.
What do you so running back's a position that's just not, obviously the position itself is not great, but and then you add in this draft that there's not like the clear guys. You really could go all over the place. What do you think of the running back position? Like guys like Dylan Johnson, who were very, very productive in college. I'm a big Vidal guy, Kamani Vidal guy. I think I just love his stature. I like how physical he plays. I like how the first guy seems to always miss. I know that the 49ers are big on Garendo, potentially as well. What do you think of some of these running backs that are sitting there?
I think Rasheen
draft?
Ali is a Kyle Shanahan running back through and through. A guy who has explosive speed. When I watch Rasheen, he's for sure a guy who, again, from I believe the North Texas, Niners have drafted guys out of North Texas. He runs angry, 6'2", 205, I believe. Didn't get invited to the combine, I don't believe. I could be wrong. But his initial burst and his ability in the outside zone with the one cut is phenomenal. Like, Kyle's probably watching him like, okay, this could be a late in the draft, undrafted free agent guy who I could take and probably be my running back too for the next few years.
Okay. And that was Rasheen Ali. I haven't watched Rasheen, so
Yeah.
I don't know anything about him.
The one I'm not big on at all, who's on the board right now, is Isaac Garendo from Louisville. I don't see what people see in him.
You know who he actually reminds me of?
Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
Raheem Mostert.
No, actually, that's funny. That is funny. He actually. Do you remember how well Mitchell tested? Like shockingly well. What was his speed? He ran a crazy 40, I'm pretty sure. And it was like, oh my God, they got another one. And it's like,
I want to say he ran a 4.3, I thought.
That's what I'm saying. So Mitchell, listen, and Mitchell's fine. I don't think Mitchell's bad. I think he's also, I don't know that he's been the same since his rookie year. I think he kind of got ran into the ground early and his body wasn't ready. And he's been playing catch up since. But he reminds me a lot of Mitchell, where it's like all the tests are through the roof. I don't know that the production's going to match, but then I also see him and the way that he runs a little bit upright. He also reminds me a lot of what was his name for the Vikings back in the day that was really, really good? Smith, I think his name was. He played with Cunningham and Moss and all those guys. Not Brad Smith. Was it Brad Smith? What was somebody in the chat help? Smith, running back for the Vikings, late 90s, early 2000 time frame. Really, really good. Ran upright.
Robert Smith.
Somebody's got it. Robert Smith. There it is. Yes, Robert Smith. Thank you. Yeah. So I could see maybe even Robert Smith for sure. So I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place. It's hard when somebody tests that well to not at least look at it, but I don't know. I like Vidal a lot. Have you seen Vidal? Have you watched him at all?
I started watching a little bit just because you pointed him out to us in the group chat.
Hmm.
You're like, "Hey, check out this guy." In the last episode we did, you mentioned
Hmm.
Vidal as well. I do see the ability in Kyle's offense.
Hmm.
I just don't know how high he's going to go because teams are going to see that, and I think the speed element at the running back position is being drafted higher. Even though you're not
Hmm.
that great of a running back, it's going to start getting drafted higher. And I think teams realize that after seeing a kid from Baltimore, other speedy running backs just being explosive in offenses, just putting them in space. And I think they're going to go a little bit earlier. And I think he has that speed.
Okay, that's totally fair. That's totally fair. Okay, so we uh we're looking strictly at running back. Let's go to all the players available.
Oh, Bo Limmer, give me a center.
Oh
Give me
yeah,
a starting
I didn't even
center.
see, but how did I bet, dude?
Give me a
I was like, okay,
bro.
Hayden, I'm looking at the corners. Yeah, yeah, okay, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Give me
Yes, Limmer.
my favorite center in this draft.
There you go.
And I'm an advocate for Bo Limmer. The reason why I am is because he got whooped on by Tavondre Sweat, and everyone was like, "He sucks." I was like, well, go watch the film. He actually doesn't suck. He actually has a solid anchor, very good and outside zone, athlete, very very smart. Like I had to advocate for him. I was like, you know what? At some
So
point,
he
I
got
feel like
beat by a guy who, first of all, this late. Yeah, I mean, nothing is guaranteed, anyways. And he got beat by a guy who's like almost 400 pounds. Like, okay,
yeah, there
great,
was one
great.
bull rush that he lost, but every other rep he pretty much handled Sweat. But everyone wants
Yeah,
to talk about that one bull rush.
of course they do. Of course they do.
Straight haters.
Great haters. Okay, I think we're going to be in a very similar situation here. Couple of the running backs went. Vidal went. It looks like.
We're in the fifth, right, or sixth.
Yeah, we're in the 6th round right now.
You know what I personally would do here right now?
Hmm.
James Williams, if he's really converting to linebacker, I'm willing. I know we took Cedric Gray,
Yeah.
but I'm willing to take James Williams right now in the 6th round because of upside and the ability to
Okay.
play linebacker, um, and allow it to develop him because he could also play safety. So if we needed him to be a big nickel or that kind
Hmm.
of guy, he could do that. And if the Niners still wanted to do their um, 3 safety system that they want to implement soon, they could do that with him. That's something I would be willing to think about. Probably not this pick, probably at the next pick at 215, but that's
Hmm.
something I would be willing to do right now in this 6th round.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it and, you see guys like Simmons that have been kind of tweeners in their career. Adams has been kind of a tweener in his career. It's like, yeah, you don't necessarily want to take a guy like that who you're not sure about what position he plays in round 1, 2, or 3, but this late with somebody of that athletic ability, it's like you kind of almost got to take a chance. You know what I mean? Even
Yeah.
though you've already taken Gray and we got some guys last year, it's like, who cares? The best guys are going to make the team. And if he can eventually be one of those best guys or a guy we can sneak on the practice squad for a year, I would definitely be interested in taking him. So, and I don't know that we wouldn't or shouldn't take him now. I mean, it's only 4 more picks. You know what I mean?
Who
Here's another thing the 49ers like to do. If we're trying to make this realistic, okay, we went tackle the first pick, right? I could see the 49ers doubling up on a tackle later just in case, right? Like, okay, the first round pick may not pan out, but maybe we got a guy later that does. And it's like, it's totally okay because at least we got our guy, right? So I look at the kid from Utah. Uh, first of all, Samoan name, he's probably pretty strong just naturally.
true?
That's like a given. So I don't know if he's any good, but I'm just throwing it out there.
Is there any who actually thinking about it, who is there at tackle outside of um Satoa?
Let's see. Oh yeah, here's another one, right? I don't care. Don't know if he's any good, but he went to Michigan. They always produce offensive linemen, right? Like that could be a guy. I'm not sure.
I think the Niners have met with Trent Jones, and I
Really?
don't think it was at the 30 visit. I believe they met with him at the combine. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure they did.
Okay.
Let me check the person who would know. And shout out to Steph Sanchez because she keeps track of this. So if you guys don't follow Steph on Twitter or follow her show, make sure you guys do because she has a phenomenal draft sheet where she follows guys. And Trent Jones, they did meet with him, and they showed a lot of interest in him.
Okay. So let's do it.
So
I think
that's what she put.
Okay, there we go. So we'll go Trent Jones.
I knew she would have it, but I knew they were in on him. I was like, let me check her because she usually has her stuff on that.
All right. And then let's go Williams just because versatile. We like it. Then let's go kicker because I don't like ours. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. I don't like ours, but I don't think I'm going kicker. Although I would bring in a guy, unrestricted free agent, to compete with them. I'll say that.
Honestly, you know what happened? You know what? If Joshua
Or an
undrafted
free agent. I said unrestricted, undrafted. Yeah, what's up?
If Joshua Cardi, the kicker, is there, I'm taking him. 100% better than Moody. I got to see him up close in person, kicking a lot for Stanford when I was covering them. Dude, he's gonna be. I would be shocked if someone doesn't take him in like that 5th, 6th round.
Interesting. Okay, he is there. He's definitely there. I don't think the 49ers would necessarily take him though. That'd be hilarious.
A team that I think takes him is going to be. And I'll put a team out there. The Dolphins. Every time he was kicking when I was at Stanford, they were up close and personal, asking him to kick farther during pregame. He was hitting like 65, like nothing.
Please tell me Jack Plummer is Jake Plummer's kid too. That'd be hilarious.
That'd be hilarious.
That would be great. Okay, we're literally at the last pick. I mean, who knows what the hell they're gonna do this late, right? We didn't get a running back. We didn't get a true safety.
Go quarterback. Last pick of the draft.
I would be fine going quarterback, honestly, because I don't think Allen is worth a damn. So yeah, I like Slovis.
I would go Slovis as well. I usually mock him to my last pick every time, only because Kyle likes four quarterbacks in camp. The kid was he was good at USC his first 2 years a year. Hey, that upside right there. Like, why not?
Okay, let's do it.
And then watch us get graded an F.
Oh, well, we're gonna get an F. No, definitely, because we've reached on some guys, but again, we're trying to do what we think the 49ers might do. So I knew it wasn't going to be a good grade as far as that went. But this would be the draft. We took Kingsley, we took Dorless, Renardo Green. So we got a corner, we got a defensive lineman, we got a tackle, we got our tight ends, we got McCaffrey, Cedric Gray. I would actually be totally fine with this draft. Totally fine with this draft. I would not be mad at this draft at all. It wouldn't be my favorite draft, but I wouldn't be mad at this draft. Okay.
What would make it better is having a better overall receiver in there. And I know a lot of people look at PFF's like grading system. PFF has one of the shittiest grading systems around, draft wise, anything. Like the fact that we got Cedric Gray and Luke McCaffrey at the end of the 4th round, I think both of those guys go a lot earlier than that. Theo Johnson is in that range. Limmer probably goes in the 5th, maybe 4th. So like a lot of some of the guys are there, but the PFF.
I don't think they're necessarily going to be there. Yeah.
Kingsley at 60, like they have him ranked at 60 overall. Like that's just wild. Like haven't talked to anyone who has Kingsley at 60. Like the lowest I've heard is 42, 45, the lowest.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's fire through one real quick just for fun, and let's do what we would do. So we'll just fire through this one super quick. But if we can trade down, let's look into that too.
Boom.
Jackson, I agree. Let's look at the trade real quick, just for S's and G's. Pick 52 is way too far. I'm not going that far. Okay, Jackson, done.
Boom. I mean, if he's there, like it's
easy.
Jaden Hicks. My opinion, I would go Jaden Hicks. We need a safety.
Would you go Jaden Hicks? What do you think of Andrew Phillips real quick? Because I know he's met with the 49ers. I could see the 49ers liking him. I know this is what we would do, but
personally, I do think Andrew Phillips is a good guy, but I don't see the Niners reaching on him, and I think he could go a little bit later. So I wouldn't take him at 60. I know he's probably going to go earlier. I wouldn't be surprised because he could play outside, could play inside. Kind of reminds me of Demo, but I feel like Demo is a much better player. Also, if Kneeland is there, I can see them going Kneeland, which they've met with, and a lot of teams are high on.
I want to see who's willing to trade here. See, 88's so far back, and 121's just not doing nothing for me. I was hoping we can get like one in the 70s and one in like the 90s, and then use those two 90s picks to trade back up type of thing. Get some good players, but that's just not going to happen.
After this, if we have time, let's do it on PFN.
88, 91. Send them 63. I'm just saying. All right. You like Hicks? Everybody loves Corley. Everybody loves Corley. Talk to me about Corley real quick. Not a fan?
No. I think he's a good player. I think he's going to be... You can't... people keep saying, oh, he's Debo Jr. No, Debo is one of one. Like, it's... Even though I'm not crazy over Debo, Debo is one of one. You don't get players like that every other year. But Malachi Corley, great player, athletic, breaks tackles, gets yards after the catch. Isn't that great of a route runner? I don't know. He's not the same player. Like, I don't see it.
Okay. All right. That's totally fair. You like Hicks though, huh? All right, let's go.
I do like Hicks, but probably a little early. But wouldn't mind it. I could also see one of the D linemen, Rook or Brandon.
I am going let's go Rook this time. I would go Dorless again. I love Dorless, but let's go Rook because we went Dorless last time. I'm fine with either one of these guys. Okay. Let's see if we can get here's a name. He didn't fall to us last time. What do you think of him? Solomon. I know that you aren't big on Trice. I like him more than I like Trice personally, but
when I watch him, I don't think he is as good as he's a tweener, 6'1", 245. But if you're going to be small, like you're going to be 6'1", have an elite first step, and he doesn't have that. It's quick, but not elite, and I think that's where for me, it's one of those ones I could see him as a specifically just a pass rusher his first couple of years, maybe throughout his entire career. But he's a day 3 guy for me. I don't see him in the second or third round. I think day 3, 4th to 5th round guy who you could rotate in and out.
Here I would probably go McCormick. That's just me.
I would go. I don't mind going McCormick. McCormick's a solid guard, like really, really good. He's one of the more slept on guards in this draft.
I agree.
Shout out to South Dakota State.
Completely agree.
Otani interpreter. You know who also has an elite motor? Drake Jackson. How does he do in the Niners defense?
Facts. I would go Cole Bishop here. We need a safety.
Yeah, I would go. Who else is there?
I mean, it would be him or Theo. Those are the two guys that I would look at. It's going to be I think we're going to be in the same area where we're looking at. I would actually probably just go with both of them. I think I could probably get both of them right here. Safety wise, yeah, we're looking at that same area.
And we didn't.
Did we take a safety? We didn't take safety the first time, right? We went with one of the defensive linemen. Okay. All right, let's go Bishop, and then we'll come back with Theo, assuming he's going to be there. We'll see if he's there. Done. And then we're going Michael Prax. We love him.
Mason Smith. If Mason Smith, we haven't gone D-line, have we, outside of
no, we Rook, did. We went Rook, yeah.
We did? Damn, man. Mason Smith is an upside pick, 6'5", 6'6", 315, 320. Quick first step. super like athletic, but also a raw talent. He's had limited playing experience because of injuries. His strength is elite. If he could become a guy,
who's the other LSU defensive tackle that's there? There's two of them around the same area.
Makai Wingo, but I think he went when you took Colt Bishop. He was there. He might have
Yeah,
just
I
gone
like
like a few
Mazza.
picks before.
Yeah. I like Smith, and I remember I took him in a mock. It was on the round table. I couldn't remember who was who, and I think the Rams representative, my guy Jake, by the way, super cool guy, Ellen Bogan. He said that he doesn't like Mazon as much. He likes Wingo, and I was like, I don't know. I kind of like Mazon, but that's just me.
With our first pick, we took a center, right?
We did. We JPJ. Yeah.
Caden Wallace is there. I mean, the Niners have met with him. They're looking for an offensive tackle. That could
We
be
do
something
need
to
a
go with.
tackle. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm fine with it. Dang,
They met with
we got
him.
a center, a guard, and a tackle. We just fixed the whole right side. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry. I didn't even give you an opportunity. He's just my guy. I love him.
I
Sorry.
wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it because if they do draft him, I'm gonna try to. If they do draft him, I'm trying to get him on the show.
Okay, all right. Dude. Gold for me is go watch him play.
He plays that fast.
He plays so fast. He also plays really big. He's 5'8", like 170. He's got some Steve Smith in him. I'm not saying as far as like he's gonna be that guy and out jumping everybody, but as far as his aggression and not being afraid to go over the middle, he is fearless at that size. Absolutely fearless. And you throw a 50-50, 40-inch vertical on top of 4.3 speed, like I'm telling you, man. And kick returner, punt returner.
And what sucks is having that speed, he didn't have the quarterback to go with it. Like his the year of that covering Stanford, there was 3 touchdowns where he ran a simple post, open by like 20 yards, gets underthrown on one of them, broken up. Next one, quarterback doesn't even look at him. Like he has the speed. And then last year with DJ, unfortunately, DJ just wasn't accurate. Unfortunately, like that.
Ukulele is super inaccurate, and if you watch him, you go watch his you don't even have to watch him on film. You can just go watch his highlight. Most of the catches you're going to see are like the ball's behind him. He's adjusting. He doesn't even get like a run after catch opportunity. If he gets an end around or something though, because he's a punt returner, really good at finding his blockers. I love him. Anyways, I took him, so there was no choice. I think we agree here. I mean, we took him last time. We didn't take a linebacker yet. Should we take James Williams here?
Perfect. Let's go. Watch, this draft's going to be so much better graded because we've been taking players where they're supposed to be taking.
Hey, tight end, we could take Milton. I heard he might convert.
Oh, geez. Christian Boyd, defensive tackle. We took a defensive tackle earlier, though.
Yeah,
also a lot of
trying to get the best player available. You know what we did?
Elijah Jones. We didn't take a corner. Elijah Jones.
I was just gonna say that. You know what we didn't take? We didn't take a corner. Okay, let's go Elijah Jones. I'm fine with that. Daquan Hardy will get you a good grade. I've tried to like just mess around and get like A+ before, just see who does what. I know Daquan will get you a good grade.
And this is why the PFF mock draft system kind of sucks, right? Like if you're going with like just best player available and the whole time, and he's not really the best player available, you get an A.
Yeah, of course.
And also, Brother Bob's going undrafted, by the way, because the chat asked what rounds he going in. Undrafted.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, teammates don't really seem to like him. Kind of a mouthpiece, from what I heard. I'm not really sure.
No one attended his birthday party, from what I heard.
yeah, that's what I heard. That's so funny. You know what? Where's your kicker out of Stanford? I'm gonna do it. Where's he
passed him already. He passed him.
Did I? Is he up here?
Yeah, he's up there.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, hell yeah. Sorry, Moody. You at least got to compete for your job. I don't know what to tell you. Oh yeah, we're getting a better grade already. B-.
Like giving Jackson Powers a B- at 31.
I know, dude, that's crazy, right? Like, come on, what are you talking about? What are you actually saying? They're like, oh, you should have taken Andrew Phillips instead of Rook. Got it. Okay. What's the other one? PFN?
PFN. Yeah. Just type in PFN mock draft.
Oops. I'm literally typing nothing right now.
It's all right, Grandpa. We understand.
Just you gotta bear with me, Sonny. Pro Football Network.
See, brother Bob must be the old one. He said he's going to the 9th round. Brother Bob, that ended in like the 50s, right? We're in 7 rounds now.
Something like that. Yeah. It's been a while, Brother Bob. All right, here we go. We're gonna go fast. Okay. I don't draft over here, so I'm sure you're gonna be able to manipulate this one a lot better than I can. I'm curious to see where they have guys at compared to pick 44. You want to accept it or reject? Let's look at the next one. Pick 51. Nope. They're like, we want Brandon Ayuk for pick 51. Actually, honestly, I would do this trade in real life, but for the sake of drafting, because we're getting the second rounder next year too. Like, I'm all about it. This is a good trade as well. 51.98 and a second rounder next year. I would actually do both of those trades in real life, but for the sake of this, no, because we're not going to get that second round pick. But yeah, we'll reject them for now.
Yeah, and then,
but I would actually do those in real life.
Very unrealistic, but Adonai Mitchell's there.
Yeah,
Adonai Mitchell's there, but also I would not pass on Byron Murphy. And he won't be. He should not be there.
There's no way he would be there. I didn't even see Byron Murphy.
Like, there's no way he should be there, and I would not pass on him.
Okay, well, let's crazy things happen, right? Hey, there's your Buffalo Bills, Xavier Worthy. That's funny. You were just talking about that. We'd have to go Byron Murphy. All right, we're going Byron Murphy.
It would be a bad mock if we let him fall to the Chiefs.
Yeah, dude, are you kidding me?
Him and Chris Jones would tear us up in the Super Bowl again.
Be awful. See, I would consider doing this too, but we're not going to make the pick. So, all right.
Drop down to go to offense and go to offensive tackle. Rosengarten's there. I'm taking him and I'm running because I know the Niners have had a private workout with the guy. Well, everyone knows it, but
there we go. Ooh. Say yes to this, right? Yeah, we're moving back 3 picks and we're getting 149. Come on.
Yeah.
Except, hell yeah. No. I would actually accept that one too. Because you get a third rounder next. I would take the 49ers wouldn't be drafting if I was trading, apparently, because I like all these. Okay, what do you want to look at here?
We go all. And then hopefully receivers there. Or even Kalen Bullock's there.
Bullock.
Actually, let's go. Actually, for shits and giggles, I know we're both really high on Kalen Bullock. Let's go Kalen Bullock, and we'll look at receiver next round.
Okay.
Really, and that's a true free safety. Like, that's someone who's going to be your racer at the back end.
I agree.
I'm not helping the Chiefs.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Wouldn't do it.
You want to look at receiver, you said? Wide receiver. Oh, Baker. Done. He's not. There's no way that's happening. God, dude, I like this way better. I'm gonna start drafting over here. This is way. I like the way this falls way better. Oh, we can get Kyrie Jackson too, and Theo. Oh, okay.
What I've noticed in the last few years, though, and this is why I use PFN only, is it's a lot more accurate when it comes to the actual draft.
Really interesting.
Tony Pauline, he's obviously who Tony Pauline is, right?
He's fantastic. Yes.
He taps in with a lot of people and sees where they have their players ranked, and they rank them based off of that.
Interesting.
So that's why I think it's a little more accurate. But again, it's
Okay.
kind of hard because PFF uses their grading system. I do like Theo Johnson. I do like Jalen Wright. And I've been high on Jalen Wright since.
I
When did
know he's your guy.
I text Rohan about him during like right after the season, and he said he knew him because his
We
dad.
could probably get both right here. We could go Jalen Wright, and then Theo's probably going to fall to him. And if Theo doesn't, then you've got
You go corner.
options.
Yeah,
you can go corner. So let's
this
do
is
it.
the Kyle pick. This is Kyle Shanahan saying, "I need Jalen Wright."
And then Theo went. Of course he did. Of course he did. That's all right. We can go corner though.
That's Aaron Rodgers giving everyone the middle finger.
Yeah, pretty much. We want 2 tight ends actually.
I really like out of this group, I'm going Kyrie Jackson, a super athletic guy who could get up in your face. I think he could play zone.
Agree. I love him. I absolutely love him. But the question is, he's going to play at like 25 this year. He's old. Does that deter you at all?
It does not. And the reason why it does not is because when I watch him, he is a little more NFL ready than a lot of other corners. Him and Cam Hart are more NFL ready. So when you're taking a guy who's going to be 25, him and Cam Hart are both that range. Can he play year one? And when you have him, you check this out. You're going to have Kyrie Jackson from 25 to 29 on a rookie contract in his prime. If he's that guy, you're getting a top level corner for 3 cheap years, no matter what in his prime. Like, I'm not worried about it.
Okay. All right. I'm with you. I'm not afraid to take him. That's for sure.
It's also the 5th round, right? 4th, 5th round. I'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, some of these picks we got traded, so it was like perfect. Oh, there went Garindo. Okay, let's go to all. Let's see what's available.
Jared Wiley is there, and if we wanted to go tight end still,
we
Jared
did.
Wiley or Jaheim Bell, because Jared Wiley is similar kind of guy to Theo Johnson in a way. Very good route runner.
Okay.
He's a quarterback converted tight end, I believe. Big frame, really IQ, and that's from being a quarterback. He has the ability to separate in man-to-man. Again, versatile in alignment if Kyle wants to use him along the line. Isn't as great of a blocker, but he could block fairly well. So I would definitely go Jared Wiley or Jaheim Bell.
Listen, you're not going to get you're not going to get perfect prospects this late, right? There's nothing that you're going to say where it's like, hey, they're great at everything. If they were, they wouldn't be,
Yeah, his run blocking is his biggest deficit.
Yeah, okay. I'm fine with that, though. Let's go Wiley. I don't know.
We have George Kittle.
So. Right, exactly. Ooh. No, I really did hear that Melton's gonna.
I did see that earlier today too.
Potentially, yeah. Isn't that crazy?
I hope a team gives him a chance at quarterback first, though.
I agree. I hope so too, but we'll see. Is there any?
We're in the 6th round. Let's go. We haven't really drafted. Go to my picks real quick. We haven't really drafted.
Sorry. Sorry.
We
got Baker already. We already got Baker, but
we've taken a defensive tackle. Damn, this is a hell of a draft. Let's go corner. Double up on corner.
We got Kyrie. We haven't taken any guards or anything. Should we look at?
Hey, go guard. Or center.
Isn't this our guy? They have him at guard here.
They have him. A lot of teams have him at guard.
Up.
That's earlier when you said tackle. I wasn't minding it because he would move inside.
Yeah.
None of those guys I would take at this point. But I'd be willing to go guard. We're in the 6th round, going and taking a guy or even. I personally would go guard because I think we already locked up our right tackle for the future.
I really don't know anything about him. I just know the name, and I'm like, hey.
He was solid. He was solid at. He was really solid at Utah, but he lacks strength and length.
Out of curiosity, do they, because they've got him listed at a guard, do they have guys like Morgan listed as guards on this as well?
No, Morgan's a tackle.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
We've got a running back, got a wide receiver.
Otani interpreter's not wrong. He was one of the worst players at the Senior Bowl, though.
Was he? Okay. Yeah. I really honestly
Yeah, he was
nothing about him. Okay, listen, I'm not a big Sione guy, but this late.
And the Niners like him, so I mean it would make sense at this point.
Throwing it out there. And there's not anybody that it's funny that this draft has obviously his counterpart who we like way better going much higher in Bishop. So I do find that interesting. Come on. At some point, he's fine. All right, last one. What do we do?
Is that Penn State's Caden Wallace?
Where's Wallace? Sorry. Yeah, it is.
I would personally go him. I don't think he falls that far. A lot of teams like him, where people have said he may go late third, early fourth. I don't see him falling that far.
It fits the mold. They took Rosengarten. You got to make sure that you're just hitting on the pick. So maybe in case he doesn't, then you go with the other guy. Just hope that he pans out.
And then with the last
picks we got. Oh yeah, last pick. Okay.
Two more. One more. Anthony Gold.
Oh, okay. Is Gold there? No, he's not.
I'm sure he is. Go receiver. I'm sure he is.
No way.
He's a late seventh, late sixth,
seventh
drafted. Yeah.
Done. Let's go. Last pick. I love this one. Golly, are you kidding me?
Download that one.
I wish.
Download that one right there.
Golly, man. Yeah.
That's the one.
There's no way.
We just fixed the Niners. The Niners right there.
There's just no way. It's just not going to happen.
And now the Niners are your 2024 Super Bowl champions after that draft.
Courtesy of us. So. Yeah.
Don't toot my horn a little too much, but we just drafted a Super Bowl winner right there.
Remember earlier when I was like, hey, we fixed the whole right side of the line. You're welcome. We just fixed the whole team for the future. You're welcome.
Byron Murphy. If Byron Murphy somehow does fall to 31,
dude,
that would be by far the craziest thing ever, because everyone would hate that they're going defensive tackle, but then they would realize who it is and like, oh my god, let's go! Like, because he's a top 10 pick.
Yeah, this is crazy. So here we go. A week before the draft, we're going to be live streaming. We're going to have you, myself. We're going to have David. And we're going to have Rohan. It's going to be quad box on draft night. I would guarantee, I don't know what others are going to have going on, but I would guarantee that between Marco and David, you will not get better analysis when it comes to the draft.
I would add Rohan.
I don't know about Rohan knows.
He texts me a lot. Like, he texts me a lot about draft picks.
Okay.
He talks a lot about draft players. Like, he's up there in terms of he'll watch a lot of players and he'll know his stuff. Okay.
And also go follow these guys on Twitter. And I will tell you right now, you can look back, 2-3 months, you're going to see draft prospects that they like. So this is not something that they just like throw in late. They're on it very, very, very early. Listen, this is not my forte. I'm not a big at every position. I love my quarterbacks. I'll look at them tough. Outside of that, I know names. I'll do a little bit of research, but I do not pretend to know near as much as these guys. That's why I'm doing draft night with them repeatedly every year, because I trust what they say. And I will say this, last couple years, the reactions that you've seen have actually held out to be true, good or bad, players that have worked out for the 49ers for the most part. So I trust what these guys are saying. I promise you they will kill it on draft night. If you want the best coverage from the 49ers side of the house, tune in. Any one of our channels will be live streaming on all of them. Marco, much love. Appreciate you. Everybody in the chat, much love. Have a great weekend. And yeah, go ahead.
Real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and plug something. Sunday, I will have, I believe, Sunday, I will have former 49ers outside linebacker Eli Harold on the channel. If you want to come and ask him a question, he said he's an open book. You guys could come and ask him questions. I'll be bringing him up on the chat as well. So you guys could ask him whatever you guys want to ask him. If he's willing to answer it and it's on the show, it's all game. So if you guys want to come and ask outside linebacker Eli Harold, who was with the 49ers for Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch's first year.
Perfect. Yeah, I remember Eli. So definitely tap in over there. Clutch Gene Sports, check them out. Y'all have a great weekend. Unless something breaks, I'll probably see you on Monday. Peace. Oh, actually, hold on.
He
some of these. Yeah. Why do you not like Chop? Just curious. Some mocks at 31. We've talked about it. I don't think the production matches play in and play out. He's got like the explosive wow plays. He's great for a highlight tape, but if you're watching him for 50, 60 snaps in a game, you just don't see it. He doesn't put together the moves. He's one speed, and if he doesn't beat you with that one way, that's pretty much Chop Robinson. You agree?
Yeah, and he doesn't have length. So as a speed guy with no length, you're not going to win that often in the NFL. You have to have at least enough length as a speed guy.
Oh, yeah, and we saw this one. Brother Bob's going in the 9th round. All right, y'all. Much love. Talk soon. Peace.